In this tutorial, I'm going to be going over how to set up a basic material on a mesh you can import. So this could be any kind of game asset or anything like that you want to set up a basic Blender game engine material on. That includes normal map, a specular map, and a color map, and also an AO map. So I'm going to be going over how to set that up, how to do a real basic OBJ import, and yeah, that should be pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. If you have any feedback on this tutorial or have suggestions for another tutorial, please also go ahead and comment those down below. But let's get into it. Alright, so what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to go ahead and import your model. So I'm going to come here to File, Import, and I am using an OBJ. So I go on that. And in my folder, I have my OBJ for the prop I'm using. And all these settings should be fine. You might have to change these if you're importing from a different program, but by default they should be set up fine. But this isn't really a tutorial on importing. This is just quickly how you import your objects. So I'm going to click import, and as you can see, it's nicely imported our prop here. All right. So next, what we're going to go ahead and do is create a material, and depending on where you got the prop from and all this different kind of stuff, it's going to have a material here, it's not going to have a material here. So I'm just going to remove this one, and I'm going to create a new one, and we're going to call it bed, since this is what the prop is, and we want the material to resemble the object. So I'm going to turn specular intensity down to 0. Now you'll see here this is a bit blown out. This is because my sun has a intensity of 2. So this is just a basic lighting setup, and we're also in GLSL. If you don't go into GLSL, this is not going to work correctly. Alright, so I have other tutorials on my channel if you want to learn how to set up basic lighting, but this should be fine. So what we're going to go ahead and do is come over here to the texture panel. We're going to click New. We're going to go ahead and open up a texture, and I have some textures which I made for this model, so you can see here. So you're going to want to use ones for your model, or I'll have a link for you to download this model as well. And the one we want to use is the color one, and it's def here for diffuse. So we're going to click open. And one thing to note, this isn't a PBR workflow, so this is just the old normal way of doing textures. So you're going to want to make sure that you're not using PBR textures, because they're not going to work. So we're going to call this def for diffuse. And that's pretty much the color setup. So we're going to click new, and we're going to open, and we're going to come up to here, and we're going to click normal. Since not all models come with a normal map, but normal maps always help to create lots more detail and stuff like that. So if you have a normal map, it's going to create lots more detail. You can go ahead and Google what a normal map is if you do not know what it is, but we're going to go ahead and open it. Basically, it fakes detail where there isn't actually detail. Now, as you can see, now that we've added this texture, right now it looks strange. It's like, what is this, all this coloring, and it's just weird. Well, the thing is, this is not supposed to be meant to be seen on our model. So down here under influence, we're going to uncheck color, and we want to go ahead and uncheck normal. Once we do that, as you can see here, this does not look like how a normal map should. As you can see, we've got these weird details, and all this stuff up here is just wrong, and it looks ugly. So the reason for this is Blender doesn't know this is a normal map. So right now what it's trying to do is it's trying to basically generate a normal map for us based on this texture. But since this is already a normal map, we can use all the different color info to actually have a much nicer normal map, which we baked out before. So if you want to learn how to bake out normal maps and stuff like that, there's plenty of tutorials on it. But basically, you bake out a normal map, and you'll see here, if I go ahead and enable normal map here to tell Blender that it's a normal map, you can see suddenly it's really cleaned up, and the detail looks nice, and it looks really great. So as you can see, if I go ahead and disable this and enable it, you can really see what a normal map does. It really gives you detail where there isn't detail. So definitely use normal maps as often as you can, because they're really great. So the last thing we're going to go ahead and show you how to do here is the specular. So the specular is basically the faking of reflections. So the way we do that is we're going to create a new texture, and we're going to go to image, and we're going to click open, and we're going to come over here to this panel over here, by the way, thumbnails. If you didn't know, this shows the thumbnails. Then we're going to go ahead and click specular, and we're going to open that. And as you can see, it's overlaid on it. Here I have some white parts since these are supposed to be metal. And the rest is just black because we don't want anything to show up there. So if we go ahead and come down to influence and disable color and enable specular, as you can see, it's kind of working, but not exactly how we want. So the way we can fix this is we can go ahead and just click color here. And as you can see, now it's only affecting this right here. All right, and you can also enable hardness. Now, if you have a different kind of texture, the hardness, depending on how light or dark the texture is going to change how hard that specular highlight is. But for now, should be all good and fine. Just using basic texture here. Now, the last one is, let's say I want to add another map. In this case, I want to add an ambient occlusion map. That I want to add, ambient occlusion, baked in ambient occlusion here, and so on. So the way we can go ahead and do that is click new texture, open up, and we're going to go ahead and find this AO map which was baked in with the texture, and I'm going to click open. Now if we've got that, you can see here, it's okay ambient occlusion map. What we're going to go ahead and do is come down here to influence, and you see we have no setting for ambient occlusion because it's not really a type in Blender. It's just another image you can overlay. So the way we can overlay this is we don't want to see the white, but we do want to see the black. So the way we can do that is we can go to blend, and we can change this to multiply. Now this is just going to show the black and not the white. So if we go ahead and disable color and enable color, you can see it's adding that little bit more realism with the ambient occlusion. So there we go. There's a nice, clean, easy to see model. And as you can see, without these maps here, it's quite a boring model, but as well as if we turn that off. But if we turn all of these on, you can see a reasonably low resolution model does look really nice if you've got nice baked out maps. There we go. That's how you set up a basic material. Now, if you're not using this specular map here, what you can go ahead and do is you can use specular here. Specular here. See. Oh, so that was ambient occlusion map. You can use specular here in this setting. You can change the hardness here, and you can go ahead and change the type, and you've got all kinds of settings here with different types. You can change the intensity. So I guess this almost looks like it's metal now, and there we go. So that's how you set up the basic texture. You can see looks pretty nice. And yeah, so if we want to see more tutorials like this and tutorials on other subjects, I come out with a new tutorial every single week, so you can go ahead and subscribe to see those. You can also leave a comment down below on what kind of tutorials you'd like to see, because I'm always interested in hearing your feedback on what tutorials you'd like to see. But other than that, have a great week, keep blendering, and make something cool.